Today I'm making a less than 10 bucks salmon bowl, a simple high protein meal that's perfect for students or anyone trying to eat well on a budget. I'll show you exactly how I make it step by step, and at the end I'll break down the macros and micronutrients so you know exactly where you're eating. For this I'm using salmon, which I cut into cubes. I've got 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 180 grams of jasmine rates. For a single serving I'll use half a mango, half a cucumber, and half an avocado. For seasoning I got 1 teaspoon black pepper, 1 teaspoon chili powder, and 1 teaspoon paprika, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I'll also use 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and 1 whole garlic. First thing first, I'm raising the jasmine rice a few times to remove the excess starch. This helps the rice come out less sticky and gives a better texture when it's cooked. I usually do this around 2 to 3 times until the water runs a bit clearer. This part isn't exciting, I know, but you don't want to glue rice later. It's a small step, but it makes a big difference in the final bowl, so I just keep going and going and going until the water is mostly clear. Now I'm going to cook the rice. I prefer using a non-stick pan for this, though a non-stick pot would actually be even better if you have one. Since I don't have that today, I'll just work with the pan. I'm covering the rice with the water, just enough so it sits slightly above the surface. I added a little bit of salt. It's optional, you don't have to if you don't like to cook your rice with salt. Then I'll cover it and let it cook in a medium heat until it absorbs all the water. Now we're gonna start cooking our protein. I'll grab a stainless steel pan and let it heat for about 1 minute. After that, I add a little bit of olive oil, just enough to coat the pan. You know what, maybe a little bit more than that. Okay, just a little bit more. Alright, that's enough.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now I'm adding the salmon to the pan. At this stage, don't try to stir it too much, or at all. Just let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes so it can develop a good sear. Then I'll use a sharp-edged spatula, not a wooden one like I did here. That's a big mistake because it helps keep the salmon pieces intact and it doesn't break their shape. After that, I'll flip them over so both sides get an even sear and then nice golden brown crust. For me here, I'm keeping the heat at medium so it doesn't burn, but you also can already see the color starting to build. Once the salmon is done, I'll take it off the pan and let it rest for a moment. Next, I'll move on to the vegetables and fruit for the bowl. And I'll show you a quick trick I use when I'm in a rush so I don't waste time cutting everything one by one.
Nice.
Now I'm going to make the soy sauce glaze. I start by adding garlic into the same pan and let it slightly saute in the leftover oil. Then I add soy sauce. I rinse that small bowl with a little of water to get the rest of soy sauce out and add that in as well. After that, I season with black pepper, salt, and paprika. Then I add maple syrup to balance everything out and bring a bit of sweetness to the glaze. Once the sauce comes together, I add the salmon back in and start coating it in the glaze. I make sure every piece gets evenly covered so it picks up all that flavor. Now I'm just letting everything simmer for a moment so the sauce can really coat the salmon properly. At this point, the smell is actually really good. The garlic and soy sauce start to really come together with the maple syrup. Alright, now it's the time for my favorite part of this recipe, is placing the bowl. I always like to start with the base of jasmine rice. This gives everything structure and soaks up all the sauce later. Then I add the salmon right on top so it stays nice and glazed. After that, I go in with fresh ingredients, cucumber slices for a crunch, mango cubes for sweetness, and avocado for that creamy texture. It's a really simple combination, but the balance of flavors is what makes it work. And now for the finishing touch, I drizzle some spicy mayo over the top to bring a bit of heat and richness. Then I sprinkle sesame seeds for a bit of texture and that final visual touch. And that's it, the bowl is done.